What if the first thought you had every morning could change the entire direction of your life? What if, instead of waking up feeling behind, overwhelmed, or numb, you woke up with a sense of purpose that lit a fire inside you? Most people don't realize it, but the first few moments of your day are the most powerful. They set the tone. They tell your mind what to focus on. And whatever you focus on grows. The problem is, we often begin the day reacting. We check our phones. We worry about things we can't control. We carry yesterday's weight into today's fresh start. That's how we stay stuck, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But it doesn't have to be that way. There is a way to start your day that instantly shifts your state. It's not complicated, but it is intentional. It begins with a question. Not a question about your schedule or your deadlines, but about your soul. When you wake up and ask yourself the right question, something deep within you awakens. It's like tapping into the part of you that's been waiting to lead. You're not just asking a question, you're rewiring your mind to look for power, not problems. You're choosing direction instead of drifting, and that one decision, repeated daily, can change everything. The truth is, you don't need a miracle to change your life. You need a better morning. You need a reason to get out of bed that's bigger than obligation. You need emotional clarity before the world starts pulling you in every direction. When you begin your day with purpose, everything shifts. Your energy rises. Your mind sharpens. Your heart opens. You walk differently. You speak differently. You feel different. This is the emotional edge most people never realize they're missing. They wonder why they feel lost, unfocused, or tired all the time. It's not because they're broken. It's because they're not starting with intention. That's where the power of these 7 questions comes in. They aren't just morning rituals, they're mirrors. Each one reveals a part of you that's often buried beneath routine. Each one invites you to rise, to reflect, to choose who you're going to be before the day tells you who you should be. And the best part? These questions don't take hours. They take minutes. But the emotional shift they create can last the entire day. If you've ever felt like you were meant for more, like your days were passing by without meaning, this is your moment to reclaim them. Stay with this. Don't just listen, lean in. Let each question speak to your spirit, challenge your comfort, and pull your potential to the surface. Because this isn't just about having better mornings. This is about building a better life, one question at a time. What am I grateful for right now? Ask yourself. Not later. Not when things are perfect. Right now. Your mind might resist. It might race to what's missing, what hurts, or what went wrong. But pause. Breathe. Look deeper. Because no matter how heavy life feels, there is always something to be grateful for. And gratitude, real gratitude, isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about shifting your focus to what still holds meaning, even in the middle of the mess. It's about seeing the light that's already shining, instead of waiting for the darkness to disappear. When you train yourself to begin each day with gratitude, you rewire your entire emotional experience. You teach your brain to search for strength instead of struggle. You shift your internal dialogue from "I don't have enough" to "I already have something worth fighting for." That one shift changes how you speak, how you move, how you treat people, and how you carry yourself. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a force. It grounds you, it humbles you, and it opens your heart to receive more, not by demanding, but by appreciating. This question isn't a routine, it's a reset. Every time you wake up and ask it, you are planting your feet on solid ground before stepping into the storm. You're telling the world, I see what I have, and I will not take it for granted. Maybe it's your health, even if imperfect. Maybe it's one person who loves you. Maybe it's your breath, your resilience, your ability to rise again, no matter how many times you've been knocked down. Gratitude reminds you that you've survived things you thought would break you. It reminds you that you're still here, and if you're still here, then there's still purpose. Don't underestimate this question just because it seems simple. Its power is not in complexity, it's in consistency. The more often you ask, the more your eyes begin to see. You start recognizing beauty in ordinary moments, peace in silence, victory in progress. You stop waiting for life to be perfect before you allow yourself to feel joy, and that changes everything. Because when you're grateful, you're present. And when you're present, you're powerful. You make better choices. You listen more deeply. You lead with empathy, not ego. Gratitude softens the heart and strengthens the mind. So ask it, every morning, not as a task, but as a truth. What am I grateful for right now? Say it out loud. Feel it in your chest. Let it be real. Let it be yours. Because the world will always give you reasons to complain, to compare, to crave more. But if you start your day anchored in appreciation, you won't need more to feel enough. You'll already know you have something worth waking up for, and that knowing becomes the foundation for everything you build. Gratitude is the spark. Let it light your way. Who do I choose to be today? This is the question that puts you back in the driver's seat of your life. Not who the world expects you to be, not who you were yesterday, but who you choose to be, right now, in this moment. Because every single day, you are given that choice, and most people don't even realize it. They roll out of bed and fall into patterns. They wear yesterday's mindset like a uniform, but you are not yesterday, you are not your past, you are not your mistakes, you are your choice in this very moment. This question is power, it's ownership, it's taking responsibility for your presence, your energy, your attitude. And responsibility isn't a burden, it's freedom. When you realize you can decide who you show up as, you stop being a victim of your circumstances. You stop letting moods, noise, and other people dictate your direction. You begin to lead your own life, not just react to it. You start shaping your identity with intention. And that identity becomes a force no one can steal from you. Do you want to be bold or passive? Do you want to be kind or bitter? Do you want to be a creator or a consumer? Every morning, this question unlocks the part of you that's still in control. The part of you that can choose discipline over distraction, strength over fear, growth over comfort. This is where transformation begins, not with external changes, but with internal clarity. You become who you consistently decide to be, and the more often you make that choice consciously, the more unshakable you become. Even when life feels out of control, this question brings you back to center. You can't control what the world does, but you can always control how you respond, and your response begins with who you decide to be. That one decision affects everything. How you speak, how you lead, how you rise when things go wrong. If you wake up already defeated, you'll move through your day trying to survive. But if you wake up and choose to be grounded, focused, brave, or compassionate, that choice becomes your anchor. It becomes your armor. There's no right or perfect answer. There's only your answer. And it must be real, aligned, intentional. Say it to yourself in the mirror. Write it down. Hold it in your mind like a sacred vow. Because when you define who you choose to be, your mind begins to search for the thoughts, behaviors, and actions that match that identity. That's how change sticks. Not through willpower alone, but through clarity and repetition. The world doesn't get to define you. Yesterday doesn't get to define you. You decide, right now. Who do you choose to be today? Ask it. Answer it. Live it. Let that choice echo through everything you do, because your life will rise or fall by the person you choose to become. Every morning is a new chance. Don't waste it. Choose with courage. What does my future self need from me today? When you ask this question, you stretch your vision beyond the noise of now. You shift your focus from temporary feelings to long-term meaning. It forces you to rise above distractions, above the temptation to settle, and align yourself with who you're becoming, not just who you've been. Most people wake up thinking about what they want from the day, but few stop to ask what their future needs of them. And that's the difference between living on autopilot and living with intention. Your future is not a distant fantasy. It is shaped by the decisions you make in the silence of your morning. Every choice you make today echoes into tomorrow. Every action becomes a seed. You can't control the outcome, but you can control what you plant. When you ask what your future self needs, you speak directly to the part of you that dreams of more clarity, more discipline, more strength, more peace. But dreams without action remain fantasies, and action without direction becomes chaos. This question gives your effort a target. It connects your daily grind to your deepest goals. It turns your tasks into purpose. It brings meaning to even the smallest step, because you're no longer just surviving the day. You're building something real. Think about the version of you who's already reached the place you crave. The one who stayed consistent when it was hard, who kept showing up, who didn't settle for comfort, but pushed forward even when no one was watching. That version of you didn't get there by chance. They got there because somewhere along the way, you chose to stop living for the moment and started living for the mission. You stopped letting feelings run the show and started listening to vision. And the moment you ask this question, you reignite that mission. Maybe your future self needs you to say no to distraction. Maybe it needs you to forgive someone. Maybe it needs rest, or courage, or 1 hour of focused work. Whatever the answer is, it's already within you. You just need to ask and be still enough to hear. This is where self-respect begins, not in grand gestures, but in small acts of alignment. When your actions start reflecting your values, you build trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, your confidence grows. You stop chasing motivation and start walking in discipline. That's when progress becomes inevitable. So ask it without hesitation. What does my future self need from me today? And whatever the answer is, honor it, follow it. Let it guide your choices, shape your energy, and set your pace. Because one day you'll look back with pride, not regret. You'll see how each morning shaped your future. And it won't be a mystery how you got there. It will be clear. You chose it. You showed up for it. You became it. One day at a time, one question at a time, one powerful decision that changed everything. What am I avoiding that I need to face today? This question demands courage. It strips away the comfort of pretending. It brings your eyes to what you've tried to look past. And deep down, you already know what it is. That one thing sitting quietly in the back of your mind. The decision you keep postponing. The truth you keep burying. The task you keep pushing to tomorrow. But here's the truth you can't run from. Avoidance is not peace. It's slow self-betrayal. And every time you avoid what matters, you lose a piece of your power. Avoidance doesn't protect you. It weakens you. It feeds fear and fuels guilt. It builds invisible walls between who you are and who you could be. And the longer you wait, the heavier it gets. That weight turns into stress, anxiety, and restlessness. You start questioning your own strength, not because you're weak, but because you've given fear too much control. Fear thrives in silence. It grows in the spaces where honesty is missing. But when you face what you've been avoiding, everything begins to shift. You stop running. You stop hiding. You start rising. Your life will never be free of hard things, but your freedom begins when you stop avoiding them. Growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from ownership. The moment you stop numbing, distracting, delaying, and instead stand up and say, I will face this, something powerful awakens inside you. It's not about solving everything in one day. It's about proving to yourself that you're willing to look it in the eye, that you're done letting fear dictate your direction, that you're stronger than the thing you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a conversation you need to have, a boundary you need to set, a habit you need to break, or a decision that's been hanging in the air for far too long. Whatever it is, you already know it's costing you peace, and peace isn't found in escape, it's found in honesty. Because the moment you face what you fear, the fear loses its grip. It shrinks in the presence of action. And even if it's hard, even if it's messy, your confidence will rise just by choosing to face it. This question isn't meant to shame you, it's meant to wake you, to remind you that your life is waiting on the other side of what you've been avoiding. And today, you get to choose. You can keep running, or you can stop and reclaim your strength. You can face it one breath at a time, one step at a time, knowing that the only way out is through. Ask yourself boldly, what am I avoiding that I need to face today? Then answer it with honesty. Act with courage. Let today be the day you stop running from what scares you and start running toward who you're meant to become. Because freedom begins with facing the truth, and you were born to be free. What am I grateful for right now? When everything feels heavy, when your mind is flooded with what's missing, what's broken, what still needs fixing. This is the question that shifts everything. Gratitude isn't a soft emotion. It's not a luxury reserved for peaceful moments. It's a weapon, a tool of resilience, a powerful lens that clears the fog of fear and scarcity. Gratitude doesn't ignore your struggles. It reminds you that your life is bigger than them. It pulls your focus out of lack and into strength. It lifts you from survival and puts you back in control. Your mind is wired to notice what's wrong. That's how it protects you. But that wiring can trap you if you let it run wild. You start to believe the lie that nothing is working, that you're not making progress, that you're stuck. But pause and ask, what is already here that I've stopped noticing? What have I been given that I take for granted? What strength did I use yesterday that I'm overlooking today? Gratitude shifts your state. It interrupts the spiral of negativity and reminds you that you still have something real, something that matters. And when you remember what you have, you start to use it. Gratitude reconnects you to your power. It brings light to what's been hidden under pressure. It softens your heart without making it weak. It reminds you that even in the chaos, there is beauty. Even in the waiting, there is growth. Even in the pain, there is proof that you're still alive, still trying, still capable. That's something worth recognizing. Because when you start the day with gratitude, you don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to see clearly, and that clarity gives you the strength to take the next step. This isn't about listing things to sound positive. It's about feeling the weight of your own blessings. It's about letting your heart breathe. Gratitude doesn't erase your problems, but it puts them in perspective. It reminds you that you've overcome before, that you've been carried through storms, that you've had moments of joy, even when it hurt. And it proves to you that no matter what today brings, you are never completely empty. There's always something inside you worth fighting for. So stop, breathe, ask it slowly, what am I grateful for right now? Let the answers rise, no matter how small. A heartbeat, a lesson, a chance, a person who never gave up on you, a moment of stillness, a decision to keep going. That gratitude is not weakness, it is fuel. It will quiet your fear and strengthen your resolve. It will wake up the best in you and give you something solid to stand on. Because when you remember what you have, you stop chasing what you don't. You become present, grounded, focused, And from that place you move forward, not in desperation, but in power. Gratitude is not the end of growth, it is the beginning of it. What energy am I choosing to carry into this day? Before the world makes demands, before stress sets in, before old habits take the wheel, this question reclaims your control. Because every day begins with a choice, whether you realize it or not. You can walk into today with bitterness or with purpose. You can carry resentment or you can carry resolve. Energy is invisible, but it's everything. It affects how you think, how you move, how you treat others, and most importantly, how you treat yourself. If your energy is scattered, angry, exhausted, or bitter, your outcomes will reflect that. But when your energy is focused, calm, and intentional, even the hardest day bends in your favor. Most people let circumstances shape their energy, a bad night's sleep, a harsh word, a memory from the past. These moments, left unchecked, become the lens through which everything else is seen. But you are not here to be a prisoner of the past or a slave to stress. You are here to lead yourself, to discipline your thoughts, to anchor your emotions. Because your power is not in what happens, it's in how you show up for what happens. That's where everything changes. Your mindset is not something you're stuck with, it's something you train, and every morning is a new rep, a new decision, a new alignment. Energy isn't about pretending everything's okay, it's about choosing how you respond. You can carry frustration, or you can carry patience. You can carry comparison, or you can carry focus. You can carry fear, or you can carry strength. The energy you choose sets the tone for every decision that follows. It influences how you solve problems, how you speak, how you lead, how you listen. It becomes the atmosphere you walk in. People feel it, you feel it, and most importantly, your future depends on it. So stop outsourcing your emotional state to circumstances. Don't let the past dictate how you move today. Don't let other people's energy control your own. You get to choose. You get to direct it. And when you realize that, you stop reacting and start rising. You stop being pulled and start leading. That's where momentum is born, not from doing more, but from showing up with aligned energy. Energy that matches the life you're building, not the one you're trying to escape. Ask yourself with full honesty, what energy am I choosing to carry into this day? Then choose the energy that lifts you, the energy that aligns with your values, the energy that sharpens your mind and opens your heart, because that energy will become your direction. That energy will attract the right decisions. That energy will speak louder than words. And when your energy is clean, clear, and intentional, you stop surviving your day, you start commanding it. You move with strength, you act with vision, and everything around you begins to follow. Your energy is your responsibility. Own it before the world shapes it for you. What standard am I holding myself to today? Not what's expected of you, not what others are doing, not what's convenient or comfortable. What you have decided is non-negotiable for the life you want to build. Because your life is a reflection of your standards, not your goals. Goals give you direction, but standards determine your habits. Standards define what you allow, how you respond, what you tolerate, and what you demand from yourself when no one is watching. And the truth is, if you want to rise, you can't keep living beneath the level of your potential. You can't keep excusing what drains you or justifying what keeps you stuck. You have to raise the standard and become the kind of person who lives at that level every single day. It's easy to talk about discipline, growth, or success, but if your standard is still based on how you feel in the moment, you'll never break free, because feelings are temporary, but standards are anchored. When your standard is excellence, you don't cut corners just because you're tired. When your standard is honesty, you don't lie to yourself when it's convenient. When your standard is strength, you don't run when it gets hard, you lean in. And when you do that consistently, your identity shifts. You stop chasing a better life and start embodying it. Ask yourself, am I living up to the level I know I'm capable of? Not perfection, but integrity. Not being better than others, but being better than the excuses I've accepted. Because what you tolerate becomes your truth. What you ignore grows stronger. What you let slide quietly shapes your entire reality. You deserve more, but that more isn't handed to you. It's built through relentless alignment, through waking up every day and choosing the standard that matches your purpose, even when it's hard. People talk about confidence like it's some mystery, but confidence is the result of living in alignment with your own standard. You trust yourself when your actions match your words. You believe in your future when your present is built with consistency. That's where real power comes from. Not pretending, not talking big, but doing the small things right when no one's watching. That's what shapes the version of you who doesn't just dream, who delivers. So, ask with courage, what standard am I holding myself to today? Then rise to meet it. Set the tone in your thoughts, in your attitude, in your effort. Because when your standard is rooted in who you truly want to be, nothing outside of you can break your momentum. You become the kind of person who commands respect, not from others, but from your own reflection. And that kind of respect transforms everything. It lifts your actions. It rewires your mind. It makes you unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Standards build legacies. Raise yours, and watch everything else rise with it. What fear is quietly guiding my choices today? Not the loud panic, not the obvious hesitation, but the subtle fear, the one hiding beneath the surface. The fear of being judged. The fear of not being good enough. The fear of failing again. The fear of being seen. These fears rarely shout, but they whisper in the back of your mind. They influence what you avoid, who you pretend to be, and which dreams you slowly let die. Fear doesn't always look like panic. Sometimes it looks like procrastination, like settling, like pretending you don't care. But deep down you do care. That dream still lives. That voice still wants to rise. You were not made to live in the shadows of your own life. Fear thrives in silence. It multiplies when you don't face it. But the second you name it, the second you call it out, it starts to lose its grip. That's where courage begins. Not in the absence of fear, but in the refusal to let it lead. You're not weak because you feel fear. You're human. But you become powerful when you stop letting fear write your script. You're not here to survive your own doubt. You're here to confront it, to rise through it, to use it as fuel instead of chains. Every time you face fear and move anyway, you teach your brain that courage is stronger. Most people don't even realize how much of their life is shaped by fear. How many safe choices were really just scared ones. How many missed opportunities were really just masked by excuses. But you're not here to stay safe. You're here to grow. And growth will always feel risky because it threatens the version of you that fear convinced you to protect. But fear protects nothing of value. It only delays your power. So ask yourself, what fear is quietly shaping me today? Then meet it with truth. Remind yourself that fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal, a sign that you're near something that matters, something real, something worth fighting for. When you move through fear, you strengthen your will. You don't become fearless. You become focused, determined, anchored. And that inner strength begins to rewrite your identity. You stop acting small. You stop hiding. You start showing up, not just for others, but for yourself. Because self-respect is born from bravery. Every time you move through fear, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your limits. That belief changes how you speak, how you think, how you carry yourself. You no longer need to wait for perfect conditions. You become the condition. You create momentum through courage. Fear will always exist, but it doesn't get to drive anymore. Let it sit in the back seat while you steer your life forward. Today, choose courage. Choose movement. Choose to no longer be a servant to fear, but a leader through it, because your future depends on it, and you are ready. What intention am I setting for this day? Because without a clear intention, even a good day can be wasted. You wake up, go through the motions, stay busy, check boxes, and still feel empty. That's not living. That's drifting. And drifting will never lead you anywhere worth going. Intention is what gives shape to your energy. It's what turns time into transformation. Every action starts in the mind, and when the mind is unclear, the day unravels before it even begins. But when you set a powerful intention, you take control. You're not just reacting, you're directing. You're choosing how you will move, how you will think, how you will show up regardless of what the world throws at you. Setting an intention doesn't mean controlling every outcome. It means deciding your direction. It's saying, this is who I choose to be today, no matter how the wind blows. It might be strength. It might be presence. It might be patience or power or peace. But it has to be yours. Because if you don't claim the tone of your day, someone else will set it for you. And they don't know what you need. They don't know the fire burning in your chest, the goals buried in your heart, or the battles you're quietly fighting. Only you do. And only you can decide what energy you will lead with. Start each day by getting honest. Ask yourself, what matters most today? What do I need to embody, not just achieve? Who do I need to be in order to feel proud when the sun sets? That clarity becomes your compass. Without it, you might stay productive but disconnected, busy but lost. The greatest power you have isn't how much you do, but how aligned your actions are with your deeper purpose. That's the difference between exhaustion and fulfillment, between noise and progress. Most people let the world pull them in every direction. Notifications, opinions, distractions. They get yanked into reaction mode before they've even grounded themselves. But not you. Not anymore. You're stepping into each day with clarity and intention. You're no longer letting the day happen to you. You're shaping it from the inside out. That doesn't mean every moment will be easy, but it does mean every moment will be meaningful. Because you're living on purpose, not by accident. This is how you build a life that matters. One intentional day at a time, one choice, one mindset, one decision to stop running on autopilot and start owning your time, your focus, your attitude. Intention is the foundation of transformation. Without it, nothing sticks, but with it, everything changes. So ask yourself, with honesty and courage, what intention am I setting for today? Then live like you mean it, speak like you mean it, move like it matters, because it does. Your day is not just something to get through, it's something to rise into. And this time, you choose how. What energy am I choosing to carry today? Because whether you realize it or not, you're always carrying something. It's not just your schedule or your responsibilities, it's your emotional weight, your mindset, your attitude. Your internal state becomes the lens through which you experience the world. Carry stress, and even small problems feel heavy. Carry resentment, and every interaction becomes a fight. But carry peace, and you think clearly. Carry gratitude, and you notice beauty. Carry strength, and you act with boldness. You are not powerless to your mood. You are not a victim of your past. You are the gatekeeper of your energy. And what you bring into the day becomes what the day gives back to you. Most people walk into the world unconsciously. They absorb whatever the environment throws at them. They mirror the energy around them without realizing it. But you weren't built to be a reflection. You were built to be a force. You were built to set the tone, not follow it. And that starts by choosing the energy you want to live in. You don't have to fake positivity. You don't have to pretend that pain doesn't exist. But you do have to decide. Will you be driven by the weight of what's wrong? Or will you be moved by the strength of what's still possible? This choice isn't a one-time fix. It's a practice. A decision you make again and again. Especially when it's hard. Especially when things feel heavy. That's when it matters most. You're not avoiding reality. You're creating a new one from the inside out. When you choose to carry calm, you stop letting small things control you. When you choose to carry purpose, you stop being distracted by things that don't matter. When you choose to carry love, you stop needing external validation. The energy you choose becomes your armor and your fuel. You'll notice the difference, not just in how you feel, but in how people respond to you. Your energy teaches people how to treat you. Carry doubt, and you attract criticism. Carry belief, and you attract respect. Carry anxiety, and the world feels chaotic. Carry clarity, and the world starts to make sense. It's not magic, it's alignment. It's the result of intentional living. This is how real power works. It doesn't scream, it resonates. It grounds you so deeply that chaos can't shake you. It sharpens you so clearly that distractions lose their grip. So take a moment right now and ask yourself, what energy am I choosing to carry into this day? Make it strong, make it calm, make it real, and then protect it. Because it's not just how you feel, it's who you become, and who you become is the foundation of everything else. Don't carry what drains you. Carry what builds you. Carry what reminds you of your strength, your worth, and your purpose. The energy is yours to choose. Choose wisely, choose powerfully, choose now. What kind of self-talk am I allowing today? Because the words you speak to yourself are more powerful than any words spoken by others. They shape your self-image. They build or break your confidence. They either push you forward or hold you back. Most people don't even realize they're carrying an inner voice that quietly destroys them. Whispering doubt, amplifying fear, repeating the lies of past failure. And the truth is, you can't escape that voice. But you can change its message. You can make it your ally instead of your enemy. You can turn it into a source of strength instead of a source of shame. That begins with awareness. Noticing what you say to yourself in the quiet moments. Do you criticize yourself for not being perfect? Or do you praise yourself for not giving up? Do you tell yourself you're falling behind? Or do you remind yourself you're still growing? Your brain believes what you repeat. So if you constantly tell yourself you're not enough, it becomes your reality. If you constantly focus on what's missing, you will feel incomplete. But if you choose to speak to yourself with encouragement, your mind will start building a different life. Not out of illusion, but out of intention. Self-talk isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing words that move you forward. Words that build resilience instead of defeat. Words that turn setbacks into learning, not proof of failure. You wouldn't speak to someone you love the way you speak to yourself on your worst days. So why accept it from your own mind? Why let your inner critic run wild without boundaries? It's time to set a new standard. It's time to raise the quality of your inner dialogue. Tell yourself you can figure it out, even if it takes time. Tell yourself that your worth isn't based on mistakes. Tell yourself that progress matters more than perfection. You are listening even when you're not aware of it. Every doubt you entertain, every insult you allow to echo, carves deeper grooves in your thinking. And every time you replace those grooves with truth, you become stronger. This is the training ground. This is how you take control back from fear. Not by force, but by focus. Not by screaming louder, but by speaking better. You don't need to feel confident to start. You just need to speak like someone who believes in growth. Speak like someone who knows they're not done. Speak like someone who's been through fire and came out wiser. Your voice is the first and most important motivator you'll ever hear. Make it count. Make it powerful. Make it yours. When you wake up in the morning, before the world speaks to you, speak to yourself. With clarity, with purpose, with compassion. Set the tone. Set the standard. Your life will rise or fall to the level of the words you allow inside your mind. Make those words worthy of who you're becoming. What pain am I still carrying into today that I don't need to? Because pain that is not released becomes a prison. It doesn't just live in the past. It bleeds into the present, into how you speak, how you love, how you show up for your life. Most people drag their old wounds through every new beginning, wondering why they feel stuck, why joy feels distant, why progress slips through their hands. It's not because they aren't capable. It's because they haven't let go. Holding on to pain feels like self-protection, but it's actually self-destruction disguised as caution. The mind is wired to remember pain more vividly than peace. It clings to what hurt you as a way to prevent it from happening again. But in trying to protect you, it traps you. You start defining yourself by what broke you. You start shrinking from life because you're afraid it will echo the past. That's not healing. That's hiding. And you weren't born to hide. You were born to rise. But to rise, you have to loosen your grip on the pain you've been holding for too long. Ask yourself honestly, what are you still angry about? Who are you still silently blaming? What memory plays on repeat in your mind that makes you feel powerless? You can't fix what happened, but you can free yourself from its grip. Forgiveness doesn't excuse what hurt you. It just tells your soul that it no longer has to carry it. It's not about pretending it didn't matter. It's about deciding it will no longer define you. The pain happened. The damage was real. But it's not the end of your story unless you let it be. Healing begins the moment you say, I'm tired of carrying this weight. You don't need permission to put it down. You don't need everyone to understand why you're releasing it. This is your journey. This is your freedom. And freedom isn't something you wait for. It's something you decide. The longer you hold on to the wound, the longer it holds on to you. But once you release it, once you say, this pain taught me, but it does not own me, everything changes. You move differently. You breathe deeper. You show up lighter. You don't become strong by avoiding pain. You become strong by no longer letting it control you. And the moment you let go of what broke you, you make space for what can build you. That's where power is found. Not in pretending you were never hurt, but in rising, even though you were. Ask yourself every morning, what pain am I still carrying? And am I ready to let it go? Even if it's just a little more than yesterday. Even if it takes time. Because peace isn't a destination. It's a decision you make daily. Let today be the day you walk lighter, think clearer, and step forward without dragging your past behind you. You owe yourself that peace. Who am I becoming if I stay on this path? That one question holds the power to interrupt autopilot, to wake up the part of you that's been quietly drifting. Life doesn't change when the clock hits a new hour. It changes when you do. Too often, people keep moving forward simply because they're afraid to stop and question where they're going. They stay in relationships that drain them, jobs that silence them, habits that weaken them, not because they're thriving, but because they're surviving. And survival feels safer than change, even when it's slowly pulling you away from your truth. You're not meant to move through life unconsciously repeating cycles just because they're familiar. You're meant to ask, is this version of me who I want to become? Not just in big decisions, but in the small ones, in how you speak to yourself, in what you tolerate, in what you pursue. Because every thought, every choice, every morning, they are all shaping you. Bit by bit, they're carving your identity. If you don't check in, if you don't pause and reflect, you risk waking up one day as someone you never meant to be. Growth doesn't just happen. It's intentional. It starts with awareness, with the courage to look at your life and admit what isn't working. That's not weakness. That's strength. Most people won't do that. They'll distract themselves, numb themselves, blame others. But not you. You're here to break the cycle. You're here to evolve. And that begins by choosing the path that aligns with who you truly want to become, not the one that feels easiest today. Ask yourself honestly, is the direction you're heading pulling you closer to your values, your purpose, your peace? Or are you walking further away each day, convincing yourself it's just temporary? Nothing steals more time than false comfort. You deserve more than a life that only looks good from the outside. You deserve a life that feels right inside. But to get there, you must be brave enough to disrupt the momentum of mediocrity, to stop following a map that was never drawn for your heart. You're not stuck. You're being called. That discomfort you feel, it's not punishment. It's a signal, a whisper from your future self, begging you to pivot. to rise, to choose differently. Every single day you have a chance to turn the wheel. One decision, one new thought, one shift in energy. It all counts. Don't underestimate the power of that pause. The strength it takes to ask yourself, is this still who I want to be? That question changes lives. It breaks chains. It builds legacies. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction. It's about choosing the path that leads to growth, even if it's harder. Because who you're becoming matters more than how comfortable you are. Let that question guide you. Let it sharpen your vision. Let it remind you, you're not just living, you're becoming. Make it count. You weren't born to fit into a mold that dulls your light. You weren't created to shrink yourself so others feel more comfortable. Yet somewhere along the way you started minimizing your power. You quieted your voice, softened your presence, dimmed your fire. Not because you lacked strength, but because the world taught you to fear your own intensity. You started believing that being small would keep you safe. But the truth is it only keeps you stuck. You are not here to live a life of quiet frustration, walking on eggshells, carrying the weight of who you think you should be. You are here to awaken, to rise into the full, bold, unstoppable version of yourself that's been waiting behind layers of fear and hesitation. You don't need permission to be powerful. You don't need approval to take up space. You need to decide that who you are is enough, that what you carry inside you is valuable. Every time you hold back your truth to avoid judgment, you abandon yourself. Every time you dim your light to avoid conflict, you lose a piece of your soul. The world does not need more people playing it safe. It needs people who are unapologetically real, who live with integrity, speak with purpose, act with intention. That kind of energy changes everything. That kind of energy breaks generational patterns, shifts the course of lives, and opens doors that fear tried to keep locked. There is no power in pretending. There is no freedom in being accepted for a version of you that isn't authentic. The moment you decide to show up fully, to express without shame, to stand tall in your truth, you break the illusion that you ever had to be anything else. That is liberation. That is transformation. When you stop filtering your essence through the lens of approval, you unlock a different kind of strength, one that cannot be shaken by rejection, one that grows stronger every time you choose alignment over acceptance. You are not too much. You are not too intense, too emotional, too driven, too loud, too quiet, too anything. You are exactly as powerful as you were meant to be. That power has been waiting for your permission, not anyone else's. And the moment you stop asking for validation, you begin to lead your life instead of following it. You begin to trust your voice instead of questioning it. You begin to walk in your truth instead of hiding behind versions of yourself that were never real. The world will always have opinions. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them misunderstand. Because when you choose to fully embody who you are, nothing outside of you can touch the fire within. That's where your freedom lives. That's where your future begins. And that's where your real power takes form, not in becoming who they want, but in finally becoming who you were always meant to be. Fully, unapologetically, now. You will never meet your highest self by continuing to serve your lowest fears. You cannot build a powerful life on the foundation of hesitation, self-doubt, and emotional avoidance. Every time you second-guess your worth, you dig yourself deeper into a mental cage that was never yours to begin with. The truth is, most people don't fear failure. They fear exposure. They fear being seen without the mask, without the armor, without the curated version they've used to survive. But survival isn't the goal. Living is. Thriving is. Becoming so aligned with your inner truth that fear no longer controls your narrative. That is freedom. That is strength. And you don't find it by thinking more. You find it by deciding more. You find it by stepping out of hesitation and into ownership. You have to stop watering down your intensity just because the world has been too comfortable with your silence. Stop apologizing for your drive. Stop shrinking your voice so others feel taller. Power doesn't come from how many agree with you. Power comes from how willing you are to stand when it's inconvenient, to speak when it's uncomfortable, to move when everything inside you is screaming to freeze. The resistance you feel is not a warning. It's a signal that you are near the edge of your old self, and every part of your mind that's been wired to protect you from change will try to keep you where it's familiar. But nothing transformational happens in the familiar. Everything powerful begins at the edge of discomfort. You are not here to live on autopilot. You are not here to chase temporary approval while abandoning your permanent identity. This is your time to break the pattern of deferring your life. You don't need another reason to wait. You need a reason to begin. And the reason is simple. Because staying stuck is more painful than stepping forward. Because shrinking hurts more than growing. Because being half alive is not living. You already know what playing small feels like. Now it's time to find out what power feels like. It won't be easy. It won't be convenient. But it will be worth it. Because your life will start to reflect who you truly are, not who you pretended to be. Growth demands your full participation. You can't heal halfway. You can't rise halfway. You can't lead your life while avoiding the parts of you that feel messy, broken, or unworthy. You must face them, feel them, transform them. The strength is in the confrontation. The freedom is in the decision to stop running from yourself. What you want is on the other side of your willingness to be seen, known, and accepted. By you, not by the world. By the one person whose belief changes everything. Yourself. Because once you believe in that version of you, nothing and no one can make you doubt it again. Not ever. Not now.